Let's look at the mechanics of getting started with APRS for less than $20. Hi, and welcome to the Gadget Talk channel, where we do reviews and how-tos on a variety of electronic gadgets that catch my eye. If you find this video helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. I really appreciate it. In my previous video on APRS, we chatted a bit about what APRS is and how you might find it useful in rounding out your communications toolkit. I'll link to that video at the end of this video and in the description below. In this video, we're going to take a look at getting you set up with a fully functioning APRS station, and for most of you, for under $20 US. You need to be able to accomplish a couple of tasks to use APRS. That includes forming the APRS message and sending the signal. In this inexpensive application, we'll be using a couple of things most of you already have. First, we'll need an FMHT that uses a K1 style connector for accessories like a handheld speaker mic or programming cable. Next, you'll need your Android smartphone, and last, a cable to connect the two. The cable I'm using is called the APRS K1 cable that I got for under $6 on AliExpress. I'll be using a Tidradio H8 ham HT that I already had, though, as I said, any HT with a K1 connector will work. Last, I'll be using my Galaxy S22 smartphone. The last piece of this puzzle is an app called APRSDroid. APRSDroid is available on the Google Play Store and costs about $5. As we'll see in a minute, the app and smartphone combination plays the role of the terminal node controller and is what allows you to receive APRS packets and construct your APRS messages, including basic position beaconing. The app will use the GPS info from your smartphone. You, like me, may have to spend another $6 or $8 for an adapter to convert your phone's USB-C connection into a 3.5mm socket for the APRS cable if your phone doesn't have a 3.5mm headphone jack. Obviously, your HT will be your transmitting device. Let's put all this together, do some basic configuration steps, and demo APRS using APRSDroid. So here are the parts that we're going to use to put our APRS station on the air. We've got the radio, smartphone, and the cable. Let's take a second and look at each one just real quick. So the first thing we've got is it's a radio, and it's got this K1 connector here on the side that you're all familiar with. And so that's going to be where the cable's going to connect. The other thing to keep in mind is that when we set up our radio for the APRS channel, we're going to need to turn the Vox on, and we're going to need to turn the squelch down so that the signals break through the squelch if we're kind of on the edge of the signal coverage area. Now, unfortunately, on these little radios, that's set by radio, not by channel. It'd be really handy to be able to set Vox and squelch by channel, but that's not the case. So the first thing we're going to need to do is turn our radio on.
Welcome.
And we're going to go to our APRS channel, which in my case, I've programmed it into channel 20.
0, 2, 0.
And you can hear the transmissions coming in. We're going to turn the volume down. Next, we're going to go into menu, and we're going to set our squelch. So menu again, and we're going to set the squelch to 1. We're going to select it. And then we're going to continue up our menu tree to Vox level. I've got it set to off, but I'm going to need it on. So I'm going to set menu again to get the selection mode. I'm going to go to box level 2. I've tried this. I know that it works. Your radio may differ. Select to confirm and then exit. And so now we've configured the radio to get ready for APRS. And we can see that on this particular H8 radio. Down in the bottom, it's the APRS is the name of the channel. 144-3 is the frequency. The channel number is channel 20, and register B looks like it's got a NOAA channel assigned to it. And you may have noticed the radio just flashed. That means it's picking up an APRS signal. So we're going to set that aside here for a minute. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with the APRS cable. So we'll pull that out of its packaging. And so the cable's got the K1 connector on one side, 3.5 and 2.5 right here. Got a little box that's got some circuitry in it, and then it's got the cable, and it's a tip ring sleeve type of a connector on here. Now my smartphone doesn't have a 3.5mm phone jack in it, and so I had to get this additional piece, and that's just a converter for USB-C to 3.5mm. So I'm going to plug the cable here into this. And then we're going to move our smartphone into the picture here, and we're just going to plug that in to the bottom of our smartphone. And then we'll get our radio back out here, and we'll plug the K1 into the radio. Make sure that's firmly seated, and then we'll turn the volume up so that the sound of the signal coming in from the radio will make it through the line into the app on the smartphone. Now, as you can see, it's a nice long cable, so you could wear the radio on your belt or in your backpack, and then have the phone in your pocket for doing the beaconing or assembling your message, whatever it is you were going to do. So that's the connection. Now let's take a look at the APRSDroid on the phone itself. So here we have the APRSDroid app open on my smartphone. And let's just go through a couple of the things that are happening right now. First, I've got the tracking going. That kind of activates the app. So if we click up here on this icon, we can see the messages that have been received. And I've been getting a steady stream of these. And you can see the format of these messages as they come in, and they just continue to pop up. Here is the map. And in this case, you can see my call sign and my general location on the map on the APRSDroid app. And you can see that I've got this configured as my, I've chosen a little red car as my icon, and my SSID is a -5. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. And so when we click here, we can choose the objects. We got APRS objects. We're using Google Map as opposed to Google Satellite, or the Open Street Map. So we'll use Google Maps here. And then here on the three-dot menu, we've got the basic things that we can do. We show our log, our map. To go to the messages, we can stop tracking, which was the button at the bottom of the screen a minute ago. We can send a position, export, clear our logs. I want to spend just a second on preferences though. And so here we're going to set our call sign without the SSID. And so my amateur radio call sign is AA7JM. I've set that. Now on SSID, I'm going to set that as an other network. And so I've got that as SSID number 5, which is often used for mobile. Here is where I set my path, and I've got my path set as wide 2-2, meaning it'll hop twice, and then this number will decrement each time the message hops. My connection preferences, I've got a whole list of these things that I can set. And so I have a IS passcode that I have And so I've got that entered there. I'm not going to share that with you, but these are all things that are available here. Here's where I picked my APRS signal, and I picked this little red car. So there's my symbols. I can put a comment at the end of my packet. In this case, I'm just leaving the default here. That tells people I'm using APRSDroid. But I could put hi or how are you, hope you have a good day. You know, just a few characters there in that comment field. I can set my location settings and smart beaconing. And here is where you can set how often the beacon goes off. And it has to do with how fast you're moving, your speed, if you're changing directions, how much you're changing, all of that is settable here on this particular thing. So you're not sending beacons out all the time, but just when you're making a change. And so this will help you customize the number of beacons that you send out. Position privacy is a way for you to set how accurate the reporting will be. And so if you set this, there are a number of choices, you know, so the degrees and minutes and seconds are just degrees and minutes and so forth. They call it ambiguity because, you know, with GPS, you can get very precise, but you might not want to be located very precisely down to a foot or two for your own privacy. And so by using position ambiguity, you're able to show where you are generally, but not exactly. I've chosen to keep the screen awake so it doesn't go dead when I'm using it, and then notifications and other things that are available to you here. So those are the key preferences that you're going to be wanting to deal with here. Again, now I'm still in the map. If I wanted to leave the map, I can go to my messages. And here are a couple of messages that I've sent. And so let's do a message, and let's use this weather bot is our first example. So I'll click send a message, and the call sign is going to be WXBOT, and the message is going to be tonight, TONIGHT. I'm going to click OK. And so I've got a message returned already. Here's the message that went out asking for tonight. It came back to me, and it's going to tell me that I've got a wind at 6 miles an hour east-northeast in the Peoria, Arizona. That's kind of close to where I am. Excessive heat warning tonight, mostly clear. And then it fell over into a second message, and so that showed up too, and it says the low is going to be 84, which for Phoenix right now is really good because for the last week and a half, the lows have been in the low 90s. So hopefully we're going to be breaking some of these really miserably hot weather here. But the weather bot gives me a low of 84, the wind and so forth. And so that's an example of using the message system. Now, the other thing I could do is I can go up here to messages, and I can send myself an email. And so in this case, I'm going to use the call sign email to, email -2. In this case, I'm going to send myself a message. I'm going to hide that. And so that's the first part of the message. I'm going to click space, and then I'm going to add some text. I don't have a lot of space, but I can put in a quick message, and then I'm going to send that as OK. You can see the message went out. and it's sent. I need to remember to hide my address here as well. And then it's going to show up on my email. And so if I were to go into my computer here within the next few minutes, I'm going to find that I've got email message from email 2, and it's going to say sample message. And so I'll do a screen capture of that message and show you that. So that's just a couple of things for using the APRSDroid app. And so you can beacon, show where you are. You can get weather from WeatherBot. You can send emails using email 2. Most of what you're going to be doing is position reporting, tracking where you're going. I did a video a year or so ago from Quartzsite where the Pico balloon guys launched balloons up into the jet stream, where they used APRS to follow them all around the world. And so position reporting is primarily what you're going to be using APRS for, but as these two messages show, you can also use them for things like weather or very quick emails to a non-ham. I already talked about some common use cases for APRS in my previous APRS video, as well as tracking yourself on the APRS mapping site, APRS.fi. To review those uses, meet me over here. Again, don't forget to mash the like button and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Thanks for watching, and 73.